meeting. We have a short meeting tonight from 5:30 to 6. And I'll just go over some of the etiquette for the Zoom meeting. So the committee is open to the public. This evening, however, there won't be any public comment. We'll be taking that on June 29th at the upcoming meeting. For committee members, if you would like to make a comment, please raise your hand. And in terms of chat box, if committee members, this doesn't apply to you, but if there's anyone from the public, please use the chat box to introduce yourself. If we'll do video only for committee members, mute the microphone when you're not speaking. The meeting is being recorded. And if you would like to use closed caption this evening, please use it under the Zoom function. And if committee members, I'll just go in order. Rachel, I'll just start with you at the beginning. I know that you're staff, but if you could just introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Rachel Gilmore, PCEF staff, she, her pronouns.
Sam.
Hi, everyone. It's good to see you all. Sam Brasso, PCEF staff, he, him pronouns.
Faith.
Good evening, Faith Graham, committee member, she, her pronouns.
Robin.
Hi, Robin Wang, PCEF committee member, he, him.
Maria.
Maria Sippin, they, she pronouns, PCEF committee member.
Ramfis.
Hi, everyone. Ranfis Gianutino Viatoro, he, him pronouns, committee member.
Megan.
Hi, everybody. This is Megan Horst, she, her pronouns, committee member and co-chair. And apologies, I'm off camera, walking my dog and my phone doesn't seem to allow. I think I have an updated Zoom or something.
All right. Thank you, Megan. Michael.
This is Michael Eden Hill, committee member, he, him pronouns. And I apologize for video because apparently my phone thinks I'm driving.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Right now, we're going to move into our new committee member recommendations, and at 6 o'clock, we'll be closing out the meeting. So Sam, at this point, I will turn it over to you.
Okay. Thank you all for first just being here. I know this can be quick, but there's a lot that's in this and a lot that's clearly gone on before this and a lot that this sets the stage for. You know, as many of you all started off with us as our first cohort and committee members, you all know that we've been charting the path of what it means to work together, what it means for you all to be committee members. And we're still going to continue to figure this out. We're at an unprecedented time in this city's history, given the fact that we're about to change our city's charter. And I don't know how old the city form of government that we've had is, but what that means is there's going to be changes, and it's going to be continuing to figure out what this looks like, particularly the relationship of this committee to our new 12-person city council starting in beginning of 2025. So there's a lot here, and I think being a committee member is in many ways giving so much to staff and the program in the city, but also learning along the way, learning along with us, and I just appreciate what you all have done, and I'm excited for this next piece. So I think here I just want to walk through a little bit of the process, and then I'll turn it over before we start talking about the recommendations or getting to there. I'll turn it over to our subcommittee members that were part of the recruitment efforts. So, you know, per our code, this body is unique in that when a committee member resigns or member's term expires, the committee recommends a replacement member. And so this was by design, this was intentionally done and created by the community coalition that put PCEF on the ballot. The mayor then considers the committee's recommendation and takes this seriously when appointing committee members, but the mayor can't appoint, so the mayor's appointments do have to be confirmed by city council. And so you all will be taking, you know, hopefully your action today, and then we'll be working on getting a council date in early July to move forward the appointments through city council. this recruitment began some time ago, and this is something we're continuing learning about. And I know this is a common point that Megan has reminded us around. How do we tighten that up, do that better, or get ahead of that for future recruitments? It started in January and was open through March in order to make sure we had a robust set of applications. Once it closed in March, we received 51 applications, and we went through about 7 subcommittee meetings where committee members reviewed all the applications, the submissions of all the answers, and then went through a series of meetings where they asked follow-up questions to narrow the candidate pool. Eventually, where they conducted interviews with the highest scoring applicants in mid-May. And so and that resulted in the recommendations that are before you all here today. And so with the process, we were seeking to fill 3 roles. One role, which has been work that you all have done in collaboration with Laura John and prior committee members, Andrea Hamburg, but was around making sure that this committee represented, particularly given the unique history of the Native American community and the work that PCEF is doing, that this committee had that representation around someone that has that deep understanding of the history and the context for the Native American, Alaskan Indian community here. So that was one committee member seat that you all were looking to fill. One community member that has knowledge and practices, and this is called for within the code, but knowledge and practices for promoting minority-owned or women-owned businesses. And then one committee member that is committed to advancing PCEF's goals, climate and equity, but not necessarily falling into any one of those buckets above. So, and that made the recruitment both interesting and challenging, and I think resulted in really good discussions amongst Maria, Ramphis, and Robin, who were on the recruitment subcommittee. So that brings us to the candidates. I'm going to just say their names, and I'd like to really turn it over to Maria, Ramphis, and Robin to share their reflections on the process and the candidates. But candidates, it's an exciting pool. I'm excited for them to join you all and get to work with them. But Alicia Chapman, owner and CEO of Willamette Technical Fabricators, Paul Lumley, citizen of the Yakima Nation, and soon to be former CEO of the Native American Youth and Family Association, and soon to be CEO of Cascade AIDS Project. And then D'Angelo Moning, Chief of Staff at Raymore Construction, as well as the Economic Development Chair of the NAACP. So I think that the next slide here is just it's a draft recommendation, a draft proposal we've put together for you all. But I think here I'm going to give the floor to Maria, Ramphis, and Robin for them to share.
Thanks, Sam. Hello, committee, staff, and community members. As Sam has talked about, our recruitment period began in January when we opened up applications, and we conducted plenty of interviews through May. And today we're sharing these 3 recommendations with you to fill our vacancies on this committee. Applicants submitted their resumes and CVs, and then they responded to prompts and demonstrated their professional experiences and their lived experiences and their interest and capacity and motivations to join this committee. Every interview was conducted on Zoom, and each interview involved 2 committee members and 1 PCEF staff person. We structured interviews with a uniform set of questions, and we had plenty of time to answer each of the candidates' questions for us about our own experiences and expectations for committee members. These 3 all demonstrated just a high interest and commitment to the committee. They have a lot of alignment in their personal and professional lives to serve in this capacity, and assured us that they do have the time and space in their lives to be in this role. But I'll pass it on to Robin, Ramphis, if you want to add anything else.
Yeah, just kind of happy to say that I think I think we were unanimous or very near unanimous on these 3 candidates. So you know, it's not like there's a big discrepancy, or not. That's not the right word, but differences of opinion. We all thought that they were, you know, all very strong, you know, candidates, brought unique talent, skills, experience, connections, perspectives to the committee, and that you know, they largely, you know, given their background, interests, and experiences, fill the three kind of key recruitment areas that Sam identified in the previous slide. So we feel like there's a good match there. I think one of the key concerns that we had for all the candidates was, their ability to serve on the committee, meaning time commitment. All said that this would be a priority, or that they would make time. Maybe not right away. I think some of them have some immediate, obligations, but for the bulk, a remainder of their term, starting in the fall, all of them said that, I believe said that, this would be a top priority, and that they would make time for the work that we have ahead. And Sam, can you confirm that you or someone from staff reached out to all these, candidates, told them that, that we were going to recommend them, and that they were still interested in serving on the committee?
I can confirm that. I did have good conversations with everyone. It was like, you're still in, right? You're still in, and everyone was both excited, thrilled that the subcommittee was going to be making the recommendation, and eager to join you all.
Ramfis?
Yeah, I don't think I have much more to add than what Sam already covered, and Maria, and as usual, Robin. I would just say, we had a strong candidate pool. We had an opportunity to do an interview just to get them to know them a little bit better beyond what the responses that we all received here. We were able to provide some follow-up questions. Robin already covered. One other chief important question we did ask was how they would handle conflicts of interest and perceived conflicts of interest. I think that's really important where we are now with PCEF, but also just broadly, I think a broader community interest and state interest in ensuring like how we talk and think about conflicts of interest and handle conflicts of interest and perceived conflicts of interest as public officials. I think again, we had some strong responses from candidates, and again, to Robin's point, I think with the options before us, I think there was just already broad consensus around their strengths and what they're able to bring to the needs of the PCEF committee moving forward, knowing full well that we might have some candidates, maybe openings down the road, that we might have a good bench of strong candidates as well who can fill in future spots. But for the moment, and the needs of what we were looking for, needs around key representation, business background acumen, I think what we're proposing here to the full committee checks those boxes, and additional boxes I think we did not consider as well. So I'll pause there.
So I think before we move on, maybe I'll just take the liberty of asking, sorry, Tracy, if other committee members have questions for Maria, Ramfis, or Robin, before I flash the next slide, which is your final slide.
Megan?
Hey, yeah, my question might not actually be for the three committee members. It might be more for staff, but my reaction is though that they all sound great, and I appreciate all the thoughtful effort put in, and I have no qualms about the recommendation. I mostly just want to understand the timing of bringing them on, especially as it relates to the vote to recommend the CIP.
Yeah, it's a good question, Megan. I'm working with the commissioner's office on getting, ideally, I think it's going to be a date in the second week of July, like July 12th or 13th. So we haven't nailed that down. We're going to be working on trying to nail that down tomorrow, and we'll let you all know as soon as we do. I think what we would like to do is, as soon as you all make the recommendation, we're going to reach out to them and just see if they're open, recognizing that obviously until council takes action, it's not done, but we want to see if we can schedule some lengthy briefings to work through with them. And then I think involving them in some of your small group meetings, so that they're, and potentially even potentially even next week's meeting if they're available. It may just be too short notice. I I think it's going to be a question of their comfort level with the content. We will offer up ourselves as staff to brief them up, and what the committee members want to join them on that. I think we're absolutely open to that, but we will open ourselves up so we can brief them and see whether they feel like they're at a place where they would be open to making that decision alongside you all on at the end of July.
Are there any more questions from committee members? All right, Sam.
So there's we dropped it. We figured it's sometimes easy just that we dropped it some language for you all to consider, and so we'll sit here until to see if there's anyone that's ready to make a proposal.
I'm happy to make this proposal. I guess I'll read it. I propose that the PCEF committee recommend Lisa Chapman, Paul Lumley, and D'Angelo Moaning to the City Council for appointment to the PCEF committee.
I'll second that.
All right. I guess let's go around and do the roll call, I guess. Maria.
I support the proposal.
Okay, Michael.
I support the proposal and I am excited to have a full committee again.
Megan. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, I support and ditto what Michael said.
Ramphis.
Support.
And this is where I get confused, but does the second imply that you support, Faith? Okay.
I totally support. And yes,
great.
second implies I support.
Okay, well, let's, I think that we've got all unanimous yeses. Thank you all. I think this is exciting. I hope you all are excited. We've got a lot ahead of us, and timing is never perfect, but this feels like a really good and really important moment to bring some of these folks on and be able to make sure you all feel like you have the robust body around you all. So thank you. We'll see you all next Thursday, again in person at Open Signal off of MLK. But until then, you all have a good evening and enjoy the weekend.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Right on.
Thanks,
Good
all.
night.